Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back and it is Wednesday, February the 12th, and it is 8:54 p.m. I've already done one video and uploaded it. I did some errands in between, and now I'm back. So let's get into it. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is just recent news events and so forth. And we are just going to jump right in. It's not in any particular order. Yeah. So there you go. And I thanked people in my last video, so we are just going to go right through. All right. I hope everyone's doing all right. And I do want you to know that I will be, from here on in, doing my video. If I have two videos, I might split it up and do one earlier and one a little bit later. But I am going to start recording earlier, much earlier, because as you know, I deal with sickness, and what I want to be able to do is get the video out of the way when I'm fresh. And then if my energy runs out during the day or whatever, it's all right because I've already recorded. So that is the plan. That's what I intend to do. So hopefully I'll be able to stick to that. But that's my plan, because someone wrote me an email and it actually got me thinking, because they said, you know, you claim to be a Christian, but you lie. And I thought, what? And they said, well, what you do is you say that you're going to be back the next day, but sometimes you're not. And I know that may seem a little picky of people, but you know, that's true. And so from here on in, what I'm going to say is, I'll see you next time, instead of I'll see you tomorrow, because things come up and so forth. But I am going to try and post at least 6 days a week, maybe 5 or 6. And some of those videos, some of those nights will probably be a double video. All right. Well, let's get into it. All right, and this is the video that I started last night and had coughing fits through. So in my mind, it seems like I've already covered this, but I really haven't. I've talked about it, but nobody has seen the video because of the coughing fits. So yeah, now I'm not going to play this, but this is pretty interesting. It's about Bloomfield, and it says audio of Mike Bloomberg's, or Bloomberg rather than Bloomfield. Bloomfield is a little town not too far from here. Nice little town too. Audio of Mike Bloomberg's 2015 Aspen Institute speech, where he explains that, quote, you can just Xerox copy the description of male minorities 16 to 25 and hand it to cops. Bloomberg had video of speech blocked. Gee, I wonder why. Perhaps because of the problematic explanation he gives for stop and frisk. Now, let's go down here because there's more information here, and it says Bloomberg requested the video not be released, perhaps because of his explanation for stop and frisk, admitting that all cops are sent to minority neighborhoods, and yes, we're arresting minorities for marijuana, but that's where the crime is. Well, I don't think that they should be arresting anyone for marijuana because it crowds the prisons and it's a non-violent offense. Personally, I guess because it's legal up here, maybe I have a different viewpoint, but it has so many healing properties to it that, you know, I don't know. I just feel differently than a lot of people feel about that topic, because it ends up costing the government more than if they just, you know, if somebody is driving under the influence of marijuana, that's different. But yeah, I don't see that as a crime that people need to go to prison for. Prisons are crowded enough. So anyway, and he blocked footage of Aspen Institute appearance. Michael Bloomberg's representatives have asked the Aspen Institute not to distribute footage of his recent appearance in Aspen, where the three were whatever. We're not going to go out to that and read the whole thing, or we'll never get through everything. Also in the audio, you can hear Mike Bloomberg describe the cops throwing kids that fit the description up against the wall to frisk them. And he did say that. He said something to the effect of, the way we stop crime is we throw kids up against the wall and frisk them. So, yeah, and then this, Bloomberg's broken windows policing absolutely created the culture of racial profiling that led to Black Americans being disproportionately accosted by the police. Here is audio from a New York Police Department commanding officer chastising his subordinate for not racially profiling. We're not going to take the time to listen to that because I'm just giving you a brief overview here. Officer Michael Birch is the voice in the audio above, the one that we just read. He filed suit for being punished for not stopping enough Black and Hispanic males. They later settled for $280,000. So they were asking him as a cop to stop and to be stopping Blacks and Hispanic males. That's what he was told to do, which is racial profiling. Of course it is. And he was chastised for that, and he filed a lawsuit and won. They settled for $280,000. So, and of course, Bloomberg apologized for stop and frisk, but his racist explanation and justification of it in the video he had blocked shows that he operates from a deeply troubling framework that he would undoubtedly bring to the White House. No kidding. And this is the guy, he's not just, bias against Blacks and Hispanics, but this is the man that said that the poor need to pay more taxes because then they won't be able to afford the things that are bad for them. Can you imagine? This person actually believes that. They're not eating food that's bad for them because they're flush with cash and can afford to give it up for taxes. No, they're eating that food because it's the cheapest. Processed foods and all that crap food is what is cheapest, and that's what they buy because that's all they can afford. They can't afford steaks and fresh fruits and vegetables, and in some of the lower income neighborhoods, it's hard to get that kind of food. It really is. There are food deserts. And really, that's what sociologists call them. They're food deserts, places where people, they're places where people have a hard time. They may not have the transportation or whatever to get to the side of town that has the grocery stores and all that. So they live in what is termed a food desert. So yeah, that is just stupid, flawed thinking that, and this person, I don't know, really, I would think that having him for president would be as bad, and I do mean that, as having someone like Adam Schiff for president. So there you go. And it says now on Bloomberg's classism, and he is a classist because he is not for the lower income and middle income at all. I've shared this before, but it needs repeating. In this clip, the Democratic establishment's knight in oligarch's armor explains why regressive taxes are necessary to help poor people from their bad habits of drinking sugary sodas. Well, thank you very much, Bloomberg, but I don't think you need to save people from their habit of drinking sugary sodas. That's the thing. We all make money. We all have a choice how to spend it. And if they want to drink sugary sodas, well, let them drink sugary sodas. I mean, no, it's not good for them. But you know what? There's a lot of rich people that drink them too. I mean, it's just his whole way of thinking is so skewed that it defies logic. It really does. But anyway, so there it is. And it says in both videos, Mike Bloomberg shows his deeply conservative worldview of punishing what he deems bad behavior with brute force instead of addressing the underlying causes of, say, crime, send in more cops, but not discuss systemic causes of poverty. And this person is absolutely right. Benjamin Dixon. Now, I'm not sure who this is. Just a guy with the dopest political podcast in the game. That's who it is. So anyway, and one of the establishment's favorite arguments against Bernie Sanders is that Sanders isn't a Democrat. We all remember Bloomberg was literally a Republican, but for a reminder, look at the lower third of this video, and and the initial next to his name, and you see Mayor of New York, R, Republican. So, and this was in 2004. So, yeah. And I know this video has been shared also, but perhaps you missed it. Here is Bloomberg describing trans woman as some man in a dress, deeply problematic, but also deeply rooted in conservative orthodoxy. Well, you know, I know you have to be a little bit more tactful than saying, yeah, it's just a man in a dress, although it's a man in a dress. All right, so we're going to leave this. All right, and we're going to come back here. I don't know what the heck that is, but all right. And we are, it's weird because I feel like I've covered this already, but I know I haven't, but I feel like I have. Just because I talked about it last night and got, well, probably half or 3/4 of the video done before I had to stop because I was coughing my head off. And you know, I need my head. I need my head on, so that wasn't good at all. All right, now, actually, I think I have covered this because this is from January 31st. Bill Barr indicts 8 for illegally funneling foreign money to Adam Schiff and multiple Dem senators. And I'm just going to read a little bit of this because I highly suspect I've covered this before. Bill Barr just dropped the hammer on the hypocritical Democrats, and this would take years, and this wound will take years to heal. Bill Barr just broke up a massive scheme to illegally funnel foreign money into darn near every Democratic political candidate and organization. The list of the Dem organizations taking this illegal money is astounding. Almost every Dem state organization and many super PACs, including the big one, Priorities USA. All the leading names in the Democratic Party took in this money, including Adam Schiff and Ted Lieu, John Tester, Cory Booker, Hillary Clinton, etc. Real rogues gallery, if ever there was one. To add insult to Adam Schiff's injury, one of those charged is George Nader, a key witness in the Mueller investigation. Well. Nader is a convicted child molester. Nader works as a straw man for the Middle East sheiks, and it is clear now he was to influence certain members of the Trump team as well as the entire Democratic Party establishment. So, interesting enough, that is happening, and I think that's good. I think there's a whole lot of indictments out there, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. And I think we are going to be seeing a lot of action soon. I know we're all tired of hearing that, and I get that. I totally get it. But what Q has told us would come to pass has come to pass. So, you know, I'm leaning towards trusting Trump and Q. Now, do I trust Trump at, you know, will I just trust him willy-nilly? No, of course not. I don't trust any man willy-nilly like that. I mean, yeah, you've got to, because good men can go bad. It happens all the time. Now, do I believe that Trump is sold out? I don't know. I don't think so. From the appearance, I wouldn't think so. But you never put entire trust in flesh and blood. And I'm not saying because he's a man at all. I'm saying mankind. Man as in mankind. He's flesh and blood. He's not a god. He's flesh and blood. Now, I do believe that he obviously has some sort of blessing on his life, because I'm telling you, it seems that everybody that comes against him doesn't do well. And I don't think that that's because Trump is, you know, picking on them or anything else. But it seems like those that come against Trump, well, a couple people come to mind. Michael Avenatti and Stormy McDaniels, or is it Daniels? I don't know. But she, I mean, when they were traipsing her out on every news program, the news lost all credibility. Not that it had very much left in my eyes, but that was it for me. It was like, okay, you've lost all credibility now. All right, let's go back. We've got more to get to. Of course we do. And we're going to do that. We're going to get to it. Gosh darn it. And I'm sure you've all heard this by now, because I'm late bringing this to you. Oops. But this is from the 9th of February, so it's 3 days old. It's it's not hot and fresh, but it's not stale either. So, man with a knife and plan to assassinate Trump detained outside White House. Well, yeah, this man, the president wasn't really ever in real danger, but there are a number of people that want to do him harm, and there have been credible attempts against his life. And I can think of that missile that was fired off of Washington that was fired at Air Force One, and it was a missile. So yeah, there have been attempts on his life since he's been in office. A man carrying a knife has been detained outside the White House in Washington, D.C. He told the U.S. Secret Service that he brought the weapon to assassinate Donald Trump. Yeah, if the U.S. Secret Service stops you, it's probably not good to tell them your plans because, yeah. So obviously it's not planned out well. I mean, if the Secret Service approaches him and he goes, yeah, I've got a knife, I'm going to assassinate the president. I mean, they're not going to say, well, this way, let me take you to him. The suspect himself approached the security office who was patrolling outside the president's residence Saturday afternoon and told him of his plan. I have a knife to do it with, he said, according to a police report seen by AP. Police identified the man as 25-year-old Roger Hedgepeth, who was arrested on charges of making threats to cause bodily harm. The man had a 3.5-inch oh, not again, knife on him, as well as an empty pistol holder. After the arrest, Hedgepeth was taken to a hospital for a mental health evaluation. No, really? I don't see why. Yeah, you probably know that he's insane when he approached the U.S. Secret Service and said, yeah, I'm going to kill the president. I got a knife here to do it with. Yeah, that would definitely earn you a trip to the mental hospital. After the arrest, Hedgepeth was taken to the hospital. It turned out he was a critically missing endangered person, as well as a mental health consumer from Brandon, Florida. Excuse me. Why is it always people from Florida? Really? Why? I may have to pause this video. I don't know what it is with my voice at night, but it gets angry. It gets really, really angry. After the arrest, Hedgepeth, okay, we just read that. No need to read it again. According to his schedule, President Trump was likely inside the White House at the moment of the incident. However, he had no appearances outside the residence planned during the day. So he really wasn't in any danger. It's just interesting. Interesting. So let's go back now. And let's look at this. This is a piece of good news. Jobs, jobs, jobs. 225,000 jobs added in January. That's a lot of jobs. Remember when Obama was talking about he's not going to be able to do anything. He doesn't have a magic wand. Well, apparently he does. Apparently he does have a magic wand. In fact, he probably has a warehouse full of magic wands. So, yeah, I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. Unlike the presidents we've had before him. All right. Excuse me. I think I'm going to have some more iced tea to calm my voice. And here we go. Sorry. But I really do want to keep going because I don't want to keep delaying things because of my voice. But normally I would do this earlier in the day, and I did do my video earlier in the day, but I needed to go out because I had to purchase a bed. Yeah, it's a long story, and you probably don't want to hear it. So, all right, let's look at this next. All right. This from the Daily Caller. Government recommends up to 9 years in prison for Roger Stone. 9 years. And he didn't even do anything. Federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C. on Monday recommended that longtime Trump confidant Roger Stone serve up to 9 years in prison following his conviction on false statements and witness tampering charges related to the Russia investigation. In their court filing, prosecutors asserted that Stone deserved the multi-year sentence because foreign election interference is the most deadly adversary of Republican government. But despite linking Stone to foreign election meddling, the 67-year-old Republican political operative was never charged with working with Russia to influence the 2016 election because he didn't. And the whole, Stone was, convicted or whatever of doing what's called a process crime. He really hasn't done anything wrong. But when they were questioning him, they say he lied. But the thing is, the whole investigation was a scam to begin with because Trump wasn't guilty. It was all trumped up charges, pardon the pun. And so it doesn't even make sense. None of this makes sense, except that, they're punishing people that are linked to Trump. That's what this all is all about. But despite linking Stone to foreign election meddling, the 67-year-old Republican operative was never charged with working with Russia to influence the 2016 election. In fact, nobody was working with Russia to influence the 2016 election. Instead, the charges against Stone involved his testimony to the House Intelligence Committee about his interactions with associates regarding the topic of WikiLeaks, which released emails hacked from Democrats in 2016. Prosecutors said that Stone lied when he denied speaking with anyone on the Trump campaign about WikiLeaks. Stone was also convicted on charges that he obstructed the House investigation and tampered with a potential witness, Randy Credico. Despite Democrats and the special counsel's initial suspicion that Stone conspired with Russia or WikiLeaks, investigators found no evidence that the Trump associate had direct contact with anyone involved in stealing or disseminating Democrats' emails. The special counsel's report said that the investigators found no evidence that any Trump associates worked with Russia or WikiLeaks to release Democrat emails. Prosecutors who recommended that Stone serve 87 months in jail and at a minimum argued in their filing that Stone, who was convicted at trial on November 15th, should serve additional time because of threatening messages he sent to Credico, a left-wing comedian who Stone has known since 2002. Prosecutors alleged that Stone pressured Credico to plead the fifth in order to avoid testifying to the House or special counsel about their discussions regarding WikiLeaks. Stone told Credico in an April 2018 text message, "Prepare to die." I'm not going to say that word, but it's C-O-C-K, sucker. Not in my vocabulary. Stone told House investigators that Credico was a source of information for him regarding the timeline of when WikiLeaks would release information damaging to the Clinton campaign. Credico, who was close friends with a WikiLeaks lawyer, has long denied being a source of information for Stone regarding WikiLeaks. Despite Credico's denials, text messages that he sent Stone in the days before WikiLeaks began releasing former Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta's emails suggest that he had at least some prior knowledge that negative information for the Clinton campaign would be released. Credico, who testified at Stone's trial, asked Judge Amy Berman Jackson in a letter on January 20 asking her to sentence Stone only to probation without jail time. He testified at trial and said in the letter that he did not feel physically threatened by Stone's threats. Prosecutors downplayed Credico's letter in their sentencing recommendation. Stone may point to the letter submitted by Credico and argue that he did not have a serious plan to harm Credico or that Credico did not seriously believe that Stone would follow through on his threats, but Credico testified that Stone's threats concerned him because he was worried that Stone's words, if repeated in public, might make other people get ideas, they argued. In any event, it is the threat itself not the likelihood of carrying out the threat that triggers the enhancement, prosecutors said. Stone is likely to get a lighter sentence than what the prosecutors are recommending, and President Donald Trump has not ruled out pardoning his longtime friend, and I hope he does, because Roger Stone did not deserve that at all. Prosecutors who handled the case of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort recommended that he serve nearly 25 years in prison on a slew of tax evasion and bank fraud charges. Yeah, it had nothing to do with, what they were investigating. He was recommended for prison because of tax evasion and bank fraud charges, not because of helping Trump or anything else. He was ultimately sentenced to 7.5 years in jail. So I really feel very sorry for Roger Stone. I do. I think he's 67, and not that that's old. That's not old, but to be facing prison when he's been a law-abiding citizen his entire life, yeah, not fair. Not fair at all. All right, now let's go back, because we can, and look at what else we have. Oh yes, here's a little piece of good news. Yes, you're gonna like this. If you don't, I'll be surprised. Jussie Smollett indicted by special prosecutor. You gotta love it. And he deserves it. Chicago Special Prosecutor Dan Webb has indicted actor Jussie Smollett for an apparent hoax hate crime attack he allegedly orchestrated January of 2019, according to the reports. The specific charges were not immediately made public. He is due in court February 24th. Fox 32 Chicago broke the story. Smollett was indicted on February 20th, 2019 for disorderly conduct consisting of allegedly paying two Nigerian-American brothers to stage a fake hate crime assault on him and filing a false police report. Smollett's defense team reached a deal with prosecutors on March 26, 2019, in which all charges were dropped in return for Smollett performing community service and forfeiting his $10,000 bond. On March 27, 2019, it was announced that the FBI would be investigating why the charges were dropped or were dismissed. And that was, I think her name was Kim Fox, the prosecutor, who was up to her neck in dirty business as well. And that is good news to me. Very good news. Because really, he's making the whole race situation in America worse. He was making it worse and baiting people. And it was with the help of some Democrats. Not saying any names, Kamala Harris. All right, let's go back. And let's look at this. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because who cares? He's not going to win anyway. But Bernie Sanders wins New Hampshire Democratic primary. So there you go. Well, I knew that Biden wasn't going to win. And, well, I'd love to see Trump and Bernie Sanders go head to head. I just think it would be really entertaining. Because, Trump's not going to lose. Unless they really, really, really rig the polls. I mean, they'd have to rig it big time. But, yeah, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders triumphed on Tuesday over former Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Senator Amy Klobuchar to win the Snow Woman. Remember that? Where she kept saying, she repeated the same story everywhere she went. And he called me Snow Woman. And I said, I played that a while ago. Anyway, so he beat Pete and Amy to win the New Hampshire Democratic primary with a majority of votes, fulfilling expectations for the newly minted national frontrunner. So there you go. Looks like we're going to see Trump and Sanders head to head. Gee, I wonder who'll win those debates. As if we don't know. All right, let's go back now. And I don't know what this is. I forget. But let's go watch it.
Off on that number.
What is this? Trump has been unleashed on Democrats. I don't know what this is now. Just says Fox Business, Stuart Varney on President Trump turning up the heat against his Democrat opponents. How long is this? It's 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Let's play it. There has to be a reason I threw it in there.
In fact, it started to move up. Dow's up 111, 29,388, and now this. Oh, it's the Democrats' worst fear. Trump unleashed, and it's happening. He's unleashed the Justice Department to go after the sanctuary movement. He's unleashed the budget bean counters, cutting spending. He has a new combative tone, and he's enjoying it. Watch this.
We are the party of boundless optimism, excitement, energy, and enthusiasm. We love people. Our good Republicans in the United States Senate voted to reject the outrageous partisan impeachment hoax. In the House, we won 196 to nothing, and then we got 3 Democrats. And in the Senate, other than Romney, we had...
Everybody boos with Romney.
52 to nothing. We have the highest poll numbers that we have ever had. Thank you, Nancy, very much.
And why shouldn't our president turn up the heat? For 3 years, his opponents have dominated the national debate with contempt and, frankly, hatred. And the media has been fueling the fire. Well, they lost. And Mr. Trump has every right to come back strong. Better yet, he has the most important election issue very much in his favor. That's the economy. The left fought him on this. They opposed tax cuts. They didn't want to cut red tape. They lost that one, and the economy took off. And now they pretend that the astonishing stock market rally is somehow bad. Are you kidding me? Tell that to the 55 million households with a 401k, the 35 million with an IRA, tens of millions with a very nice retirement egg, thank you. The nest egg, that would be. The Democrats didn't want a war, didn't want ICE deporting criminals. Now, Trump, unleashed, will put $2 billion into the wall, and his Justice Department will start dismantling sanctuary cities and states. If they thought illegals liked Republicans, the Democrats will be building the wall. Personally, I'd like to see the president unleashed on all those who called him and us nasty names.
Yes.
America is not a racist, bigoted society. Remember that. Remind them of that, forcefully. No more Mr. Nice Guy, please, Mr. President.
I love that. So well done.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'm glad I played that because that was every bit as awesome as the first time I watched it. All right. Let's go back now. No, really. Let's. All right. This from Chuck Calesto. Breaking. Mitt Romney is a top 20 recipient of funding by George Soros lobbyist group. Oh my gosh, I'm shocked. No, I'm not. Raise your hand if you think Mitt Romney should be removed from the Republican Party. My hand's raised. Unbelievable. Well, I guess now we understand why he's such a traitor. Yeah. GOP Senator Mitt Romney stunned just about everyone last week when he was the only Republican to vote to convict President Donald Trump in the Senate. And now we find out that he's been taking money from George Soros. So I guess money speaks louder than his conscience or doing the right thing or anything else. The love of money is the root of all evil, the love of money. And he must love it. All right. China Daily, the Philippines. Okay. Oh, yes. The Philippines has officially notified the United States about its termination of the Visiting Forces Agreement, VFA, between Manila and Washington. Now, I don't know what this is about. And if any of you do, please let me know, because I would think that this is pretty serious. And I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if our relations with the Philippines is souring? I'm not sure, but if any of you are aware of anything that's going on that would have predicated this, please let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, I will do some digging of my own. All right, let's go on. Now, as if there's not enough bad news out of, well, in the world. Excuse me. Oh, I see my little kitties back there sleeping away. Hi. Hello. Hello. Oh, I know. You're such a good boy. All right. Okay. Most devastating plague of locusts in recent history could come within weeks, the UN warns. Climate change and al-Shabaab extremists contributed to circumstances that could produce crippling swarms of locusts in Somalia and East Africa. So, yeah, and apparently these locusts are they sweep through and there's nothing green left in their path at all. They consume everything that's green. Not good news. So, Garau, Somalia, at a glance, the desert locusts in this arid patch of northern Somalia look less ominous than the billion-member swarms infesting East Africa in the worst outbreak some places have seen in 70 years, but their time will come. Small and wingless, the hopping young locusts are the next wave in the outbreak that threatens more than 10 million people across the region with a severe hunger crisis. And they are growing up in one of the most inaccessible places on the planet. Large parts of Somalia, south of the semi-autonomous Puntland region, are under threat or held by the Al-Qaeda-linked al-Shabaab extremist group that makes it difficult or impossible to conduct the aerial spraying of the locusts that experts say is the only effective control. Somalia has declared the outbreak a national emergency across the region. It has potential to be the most devastating plague of locusts in any of our living memories if we don't reduce the problem faster than we're doing at the moment, UN humanitarian chief Mark Lowcock said. As an armed Somali policeman stood by, experts on Thursday walked across the dry land, crawling with the young locusts, and explained the threat to come if the world doesn't act right now. The world needs to know this is where it all begins, said Alberto Trio Barca, a spokesman for the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. In the next 3 or 4 weeks, these nymphs, as we call them, will develop wings. Then they are expected to set off for neighboring Kenya and Ethiopia, where a handful of planes spraying pesticide can only do so much if such swarms keep arriving. Climate experts have pointed to unusually heavy rains aided by a powerful cyclone off Somalia in December as a major factor in the outbreak. The locusts were carried in by the storm winds from the Arabian Peninsula and parts beyond, and now they are feeding on Somalia's fresh vegetation. With more rains expected in the region in the coming weeks, the number of locusts, if unchecked, could grow by up to 500 times by June, when drier weather is expected. But that drier weather is not necessarily the solution, said Dominique Bourgeon, the FAO's Emergency and Resilience Director. The density of the locusts is now so high that even normal moisture can lead to another generation, he said. We cannot believe in Mother Nature to solve it, he explained. Without enough spraying to stop the swarms, the already worrying outbreak could turn into a plague, and when you have a plague, it takes years to control, he said. Against that sweeping outlook, a few masked workers with white protective suits and pesticide containers strapped to their backs stood in the camel-crossed Somali desert, spritzing the thousands of locusts clinging to thorny bushes. The world's changing climate brings the risk of more cyclones coming in from the warming Indian Ocean off East Africa, climate experts say. With that, the likelihood of further locust outbreaks grow. So, and I'm not going to read the rest of this, but I did want you to be aware of it happening. Not good. So, yeah, interesting picture that they've taken there. But yeah, it's not good at all. And these are poor some of the poorest parts of the world that are being plagued with the locusts. So yeah, let's go back and see what else we have here. And this is interesting. I have never heard of this before, and maybe you haven't either. I don't know. Or maybe you have, but this is all new to me. And of course, this is, you know, well, it was January the 6th of 2018, so it's old, but it's pertinent. Because, let me see here, let's go to this. I just was gobsmacked by this because I'd never heard of it. Scientists are keeping a close eye on the Beaufort, I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, Gree? I'm not sure. Anyway, the Beaufort Gree? I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not sure. An immense 60-mile diameter pool of cold fresh water and sea ice is stuck in a clockwise rotation that should have ended years ago. Its eventual reversal could send massive amounts of chilly water straight toward Western Europe, plunging it into brutal winters and disrupting fisheries. Now, this is very interesting. The Gree spins in the Beaufort Sea, north of Alaska and Canada and south of the North Pole. When this ocean current spins clockwise, it traps Arctic ice and fresh water melt. When it spins the other way, it ejects that ice and fresh water out past Greenland into the North Atlantic, making weather in Northern Europe cooler. It is a natural phenomenon, but something has gone awry with the way it operates, as its periodic reversal is way overdue. Typically, cyclonic storms occur every 5 to 7 years in the North Atlantic and move into the Arctic, causing the Gree to weaken and reverse direction, explains journalist Ed Stutzik, a fellow with the Institute for Energy and Environmental Policy at Queen's University. That's where I went. And author of Future Arctic Field Notes from a World on the Edge. In recent years, however, the Arctic has been warming faster than the rest of the planet, and scientists speculate that this has caused the Gree to stay in a clockwise direction for more than a dozen years. Nobody really understands what's going on, Struzek says, but it's probably a combination of climate change and massive runoff of fresh water coming off Greenland glacier that is preventing those big cyclones from forming over the North Atlantic and moving into the Arctic. So the Gree just keeps getting bigger, spinning faster, and collecting more water, Struzek says. Imagine all of that water that we have in the Great Lakes. That's the amount of fresh water trapped in the Arctic, just waiting to get out. Scientists are waiting with bated breath, he said. They see signals that the Gree could reverse sooner rather than later, but they thought this was the case in 2013, and it turned out not to be. When it does happen, Struzek says, we won't see the day after tomorrow scenario in which the world goes into a deep freeze, but it's definitely going to create some problems for the European countries near the North Atlantic. The last time this happened, in the 1960s and 1970s, Western Europe endured 8 of its most severe winters, and the surge of ice and fresh water disrupted the North Atlantic food chain. This in turn caused a collapse of the lucrative herring fisheries. Hypothetically, a quick warming Arctic and its effect on the Gree could impact weather across North America as well. Warming Arctic waters appear to be disrupting the flow of the jet stream, creating a kind of loopiness in its shape that tends to hold weather patterns in place, Struzek explains. This can bring Arctic air further south than usual and create unusual extreme weather events like what recently occurred in Corpus Christi, Texas, which received several inches of snow a few weeks ago. Now, this is an old article. I think that's likely what's happening, and we're going to see more of that in the future, Struzek says. But then again, we really don't know, because this is the sort of emerging science that everybody's trying to study and everybody's figuring out. So this is very interesting, and let's go back, and I want to show you. So this is it. There's Greenland, Russia, Alaska, and this is the Beaufort Sea, and this is the Beaufort Gree, and here is the circle of water, and it will spin one way, and when it spins the other way, it releases that cold water, and it affects the weather patterns throughout Europe and even North America. So the Beaufort Gree is a wind-driven ocean current located in the Arctic Ocean polar region. The Gree contains both ice and water. It accumulates fresh water by the process of melting the ice floating on the surface of the water. Conditions in the Arctic have favored sea ice loss in recent years during the Northern Hemisphere summers. At the end of the 20th century, analysis of increasing Pacific surface water temperatures led to the discovery of a connection between these rising temperatures and the onset of severe loss of Arctic sea ice in the Beaufort Sea. A reason for the existence of this link was proposed. Delayed winter ice formation allows for more efficient coupling between the ocean and wind forcing. These dynamic mechanisms are observed in the spin-up and circulation of the Beaufort Gree. So when this does reverse, and it's way overdue, this will plunge Europe into severe winter weather, and it will affect North America as well. So I think that this is important. Now, we don't have to worry about it today. We don't have to worry. Well, we might have to worry about it tomorrow, but I doubt it's going to happen that fast. So, but I did want you guys to be aware of it because I had never heard of this before in my life. And so there's a good chance you may not have either. So anyway, let's go on. All right, let's look at this because we can, and we will, and we're going to. All right, California bill. Now, this is just more liberal lunacy. California bill would ban stays at Trump hotels for state employees. Yes, this is the length to which they are willing to go. If you are a state employee, you would not be able to stay in Trump hotels. Talk about small-minded people. Very, very small. And I'm not going to read all that because it's not worth it. We know it's just more liberal lunacy. But yeah, these people are mental midgets, really. So let's go back here. And yeah, this was kind of weird too, I thought. Biden abruptly cancels New Hampshire primary party appearance, heads to South Carolina. Now, he's got to know that, like stick a fork in him. He's done. And here, he looks like he's aged a lot because he was like so Botoxed up. He was just like, could hardly move his face. And now, I guess the Botox ran out. Manchester, New Hampshire, Joe Biden is heading south. The former vice president abruptly announced on Tuesday morning that he won't spend primary night in New Hampshire as planned and instead is flying to South Carolina to headline a newly scheduled kickoff rally in the state he's long considered his campaign firewall. We're going to head to South Carolina tonight, Biden told reporters as he visited a polling station with voting underway in the state that holds the first primary in the race for the White House, and I'm going to Nevada. We've got to look at them all. The campaign confirmed Biden is now canceling his originally scheduled appearance at a primary night party in Nashua, New Hampshire. Did I pronounce that right? And will be in South Carolina instead. The New Hampshire party will go on as scheduled without him, but the campaign emphasized that Biden would continue to stop by polling stations during the afternoon. So I don't know. I think you can just stick a fork in him. I do. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. All right. Let's go back. Now, here's a question for all of us. What's wrong with Pelosi? No, really. What's wrong with her? She's not right. She scares me. Keep her away from me. Please. Let's look. Don't tell her where I am. Okay. This is by Brigitte Gabriel, who I have a lot of respect of, and she says, what do you think? What do you guys think is wrong with Speaker Pelosi here? Well, let's look at it. I'm being completely serious with you guys. She scares me. Keep her away from me at all costs. All right. Now we can go on.
Part of our faith. But it was a family, just to go, it was a family that was in government. You have some idea of this. And congratulations to your father. Part of our faith. But it was a family,
it's just starting over again. But
it was a family that was in government. You have some idea of this. And congratulations to your father. Part of our faith.
Does anybody know what she's talking about? I don't either. But there's more. There's more of it. Just wait. I hate to do this to you guys, but I think she's developed a new language. I don't know what we could call it. We could just call it Pelosi. I speak Pelosi, but I'd be afraid of people that spoke Pelosi. Terrified of them. All right, let's listen to this. I do think she's developed a new language, though, that we just haven't caught on to. Now, hang on here. It says, watch, Nancy Pelosi has invented a new language. It's called Hooked on Vodka Tonic. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't. But, you know, she's invited it herself. Okay, let's listen to this.
When we bring the bill, which is, just so you know, there's a bill made in order by the Rules Committee that we can call up at any time in order to send it over to the Senate and to have the provisions in there to pay for the impeachment. And then the next step, the whatever you want to call it, the trial. That is where you put the managers. I was not prepared to put the managers in that bill yet because we don't know the arena that we are in. Frankly, I don't care what the Republicans say. Any other questions? Not on this subject. I've said this is it. I honored Nancy.
So, what's your opinion? What's wrong with her? Is it too much drinking? Does she have Alzheimer's? Is she not able to remember what she's talking about? What do you think? I mean, I really do think she has tardive dyskinesia, which, you know, certain medications can cause that, because I think that's why she sucks and chews on her dentures and so forth. I don't think she can help it, because I don't think anybody, if they could help it, would continue to do it. But there's definitely something medically wrong with this woman, medically. And, you know, I hate to make fun of her, but on the other hand, she's been so nasty and so underhanded that it's hard not to, because she has been absolutely a witch. I'm not going to say the other word with a B, but you know what I mean. All right, let's go back now. And this by praying medic, POTUS cut last night's rally short to receive the remains of 2 soldiers killed in Afghanistan. Now, that is incredible. That's why I respect Donald J. Trump. Really. He cut the rally short to receive the remains of 2 soldiers killed in Afghanistan. He cares about our military. He cares about our men and women in service. And I respect that. All right. Now, I don't know if I've ever commented on this, and it's kind of old by now, but in case you haven't heard it, come on, what's taking so long? Yeah, Pelosi wants the video of her shredding Trump's speech removed, but it hasn't been. It hasn't been. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is demanding social media companies remove a video posted by the president featuring her stunt of ripping up his State of the Union message. Well, if she didn't want it aired, then why did she do it in front of the whole country? I'm just saying. All right, trending. Anonymous White House insider identified and will soon be gone, says DeGenova. Her spokesman, Drew Hamill, told The Hill that Pelosi's office had both told Twitter and Facebook to take it down. See, she's that, she thinks she holds so much power that she can just tell them to take it down and they'll take it down. Well, they didn't. So, and I'm glad. The Gateway Pundit reported Hamill also posted several complaints on Twitter. The American people know that the president has no qualms about lying to them, but it is a shame to see Twitter and Facebook, sources of news for millions, do the same. How can it be a lie? She sat there and ripped up the speech in front of the whole country. Is that a lie? No, we all saw her do it. Live on TV. She's a piece of work, that one. The latest fake video of Speaker Pelosi is deliberately designed to mislead and lie to the American people. And every day that these platforms refuse to take it down is another reminder that they care more about their shareholders' interests than the public's interests. Right. Can you imagine the gall of this woman? We watched her do it live. But yet she's claiming, oh, this is a fake video. It's a fake video. Oh, really? Well, then why did Matt Gaetz file an ethics complaint on you, Nancy Pelosi? Why? If it's a lie, it's all a lie. Unbelievable. The Hill said Pelosi told her caucus, I didn't go in there to tear up the speech, and I didn't even care that he didn't shake my hand. In fact, who cares? But I'm a speed reader, so I went through the speech, so I knew that it was a pack of lies. I knew it was a pack of lies, but I thought, well, let's see how it goes. About a quarter way through, I thought, he's selling a bill of goods like a snake oil salesman. We cannot let this stand, the House Speaker said. So somewhere along the way, realizing what was coming, I started to stack my papers in a way that were terrible. She's terrible. Members of Congress have pointed out federal law forbids the mutilation or destruction of federal documents and have asked for an investigation and possible prosecution. Many were outraged because of the stories of Americans contained in the speech. They included the 100-year-old Tuskegee Airman, a student given a scholarship, and a veteran's widow, and the wife of a veteran whose husband was brought back from Afghanistan. The president on Wednesday was acquitted on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress by the Senate on partisan lines. So, on Thursday, Pelosi, who insists Trump has been impeached for life, claimed the president's State of the Union address was a collection of untruths. When asked afterward why she tore her copy of the speech, Pelosi responded, because it was the courteous thing to do, considering the alternatives. Yeah, let's watch her tear it.
And my fellow Americans, the best is yet to come. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
She did.
Wait.
Sure did.
A stunning moment here at the end of the president's speech. Nancy Pelosi tearing up what appeared to be a copy of the president's speech.
Wow. And this on the heels of a moment earlier where she seemed to offer her hand for a handshake, and he either didn't see it, he didn't shake her hand in any event. She didn't use the usual flourish in introducing him. It is my high honor and privilege. So when we said that there was a partisan rancor inside this room, we were telling you there certainly is. In fact, 2 members of Congress have tweeted that they walked out during this speech.
And some boycotted, we should know.
So it's interesting because she's saying, oh, it was a lie. Take it off of Twitter. Take it off of Facebook. It's a lie. It's a fake video. Well, we just watched, the news coverage of it. They saw her rip it. We saw her rip it. What do you think, Nancy? Yeah, well, I'm glad that the video is still available everywhere for your viewing pleasure. All right. Well, I think that should be it for tonight, even though I do have some more things, but some of it is, oh, I like this. Hang on, I need to show you this, just so that we can rejoice together. Hang on here. PelosiForPrison.co. Massive Pelosi for prison banner flown in San Francisco by top GOP opponent. I love it. I'm not going to read all this, but I love it. And I think you love it too. And that's just the impression that I get. All right. So that is it. I think I'm going to stop it there. So, all right, guys. Well, I will see you next time. And it will be early, I assure you. So let's just, I think that's all that I need to tell you tonight. And we will be back with another fun-filled episode of news, information of some sort or another. So you guys take care, stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth because deception bites. And thank you guys. I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you for listening. I know you have a choice of which YouTube videos to watch, so I'm always honored when you watch mine. Thank you. Good night.